Well, I think we came into this COP very much with the issue in mind that we're not on the right pathway. We're emitting at the present time about twice as much greenhouse gases as we need to by 2030. We need to have reduced them by half at least if we are going to be on a safe pathway. So that has been colouring our interventions here very, very much. The Pacific has had an active participation. They've been in the trenches, if you like, in negotiations, and they have been pushing their points around the science. That the best science is telling us that we need to do things very differently, and that the world is not on the right pathway. They've also been stressing the points around loss and damage, that even with the best adaptation efforts, even with the best mitigation efforts, we will have residual loss and damage happening, and we need to deal with that somehow. So I think the region has made its voice loud and clear. We are now at the crunch point where we will see what the final decisions will be, but I'm still optimistic that we will get a good result out of here.
Countries like the Philippines bear the brunt. We didn't cause it, but we have to prepare. We have to adapt, and we are ready with policies. Are we ready all of the time? No. The fact that there are deaths by the dozens, by the hundreds, the fact that we lose a great percentage of our gross domestic product, because no matter how much you prepare, there's still losses that are incurred in the process.
Well, quite frankly, on the political side, there's a lot of frustration. I mean, I said it in my country statement yesterday also, we are on a war path with nature, and we seem to be leading the charge. I think the world, especially the politicians who are, including myself, who are in these halls, are not waking up to the reality and the science of climate change, which is staring us in the face and telling us that, nature has remained resilient, but nature is no longer silent. You've got cyclones, you've got heat waves, you've got floods, you've got all sorts of freak natural events occurring, which are indicating that nature has gone, if not over the threshold, very close to the threshold. So we are moving into an era of climate irreversibility, and I think that's a dangerous era to be in. People outside these halls realize it. I mean, our youth are on the streets, the scientists are, are crying out that, we've reached the limits, but we are still playing, the political games inside these halls. So I think we need to change that. If not, nature is going to change us by force.
Well, in the first place, this COP25 happens at a time when Africa has seen the biggest effects of climate change. Southern Africa is suffering from drought. Eastern Africa is suffering from floods. And therefore, the story about climate change it has become well known. Now, coming here, as African countries, we come following the negotiation processes that have been ongoing in regard to climate change convention. But as we sit in the conferences, we begin to see responses from other countries that are take-home messages, take-home examples that we can apply in Africa. For example, mitigation. I've just been in a conference for mitigation, insurance to cover farmers, climate prediction, weather forecasting, so that we prepare for the effects that are there. And more importantly, the willingness to provide funding so that we build our own capacities in Africa, in our different countries, in our sub-regions, to be able to respond to the climate challenge that is facing us. I've been absolutely satisfied with the fact that the emphasis is on the science, on the reality, and hearing Americans come and speak, and that for the world, America and the developed countries drive directions of responses, and to see them concerned, genuinely concerned, recognizing the reality as a scientific fact, makes us feel very comfortable that the world is, for once, beginning to speak with one voice and to begin to respond. And we will be the biggest beneficiaries because Africa doesn't have the capacity to respond on its own. on its own. It has to depend on the rest of the world for the science, for the technical capacity, for the resources, and for the experiences to share. And mixing with the rest of the world, I'm more than satisfied that this is one of the best COP for Africa.